Hello guys, welcome to my guide to all variant gems. I got asked a lot about where to use your variant gems on and on what variant is the best. So I thought I'm just gonna make a video about it. Yeah, there's a lot of different variants. Some are special for weapons, unique for weapons, and some are unique for bangles. So you can see there's some different ones, but we're gonna make a tier list and I'm gonna rank them one by one. And at the end, I'm gonna have a little explanation, do some special variants, and the breakdown of like damage increase and so on. Good, let's get to it. Before we start, weapons can be variants here. Usually there's weapons and bangles that are variants, but there's a possibility that chests, amulets, and rings can roll variant too. You can see them on the screen here. There's all different ones. So yeah, it's possible to have 4 different variants on your gear on one champion. Unlikely, but it's possible. Okay, let's start the tier list. So Benediction is a healing weapon exclusive variant. HP above 50%, healing effect by 9. It's okay. If it's on a healing weapon, 9 extra healing effect is okay. But it won't break the bank, so it's gonna be in the okay tier. Witcher's Charm, dealing single target damage, 2% chance to like sheep one of the enemies with a 20-second trigger interval. Super trash. The trigger chance is too low, it's only single target damage and the cooldown, so it never triggers. Even in GVG it triggers sometimes, but it's so unreliable, it's super trash. Okay, Stoicism, it's okay. It's 250. No, it's trash. 250 defense is nothing. Defense is useless, so yeah, trash. Recklessness increases damage up by 10% for 10 seconds. Like on 95% of the champions, it's useless because the first 10 seconds are not gonna matter. It's good on Suyu, for example, if you deploy her for 10 seconds more damage. And a Nora, it works on a Nora, so if you deploy it with a Nora, because the Nora summon doesn't get redeployed, the 10% damage increase stays on the summon. So I'm gonna put it in a situational, but 95% is trash. Bloodthirst, 20 attack speed, it's okay. Merciless, increases damage dealt by enemies, inflicted with stun, freeze, immobilized. It's a 5% damage increase. That's pretty good. It's multiplicative, so the trigger chance is kind of low because you don't stun, freeze, or mobilize enemies that much. So yeah, but I'm still gonna put it in the good tier because it's better than the other ones. Good. Divine Fury, super trash, low damage, does nothing. Oh, we got another Benediction. Yeah, put in twice. Yeah, 10 healing effect is okay-ish, but yeah. Good. Wisdom, 8 healing effect. It's okay. No, it's the same as above, just without the HP requirement, so yeah. Impetuous Might, Technically very good because it's post-deployment attack percent, crit rate, and crit damage, but 5 seconds is not long enough and no one can keep it up for long, but it's still better than all the other ones, so put it in good. Bulwark, 2 defense, 2 HP. It's post-deployment. For tanks, it's okay. Grace, healing effect, +4 rage region. It's okay. It's a bit of stat boost, so yeah. Then we're gonna come to renewed vigor. This one OP. It's crazy. Increases all basic attributes, so it increases attack, HP, defense by 5%. Important to note here, it's post deployment, so after all your stats on your champs are already calculated. So it's huge. It's very huge. We're gonna see later when I do the calculation how much damage increase it is. Retaliation, super trash. Deals no damage. Yeah. Super trash. Then Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave is very interesting. I would put it into good. I would call Tidal Wave probably the best variant for healers, actually. 5% chance is enough. 100% damage is irrelevant. The most important thing is the defense, the 10% defense reduction. And it triggers on heals, so could be useful for any healer, especially in GVG, where you sometimes don't have defense down. So yeah, 10% is nice for 5 seconds. Well, it's better than nothing, right? Well nourished, I would put in good too. This is a post-deployment 5% HP buff. It's pretty good on on tanks. It's not as good as renewed vigor because it takes a long time to get to 5%, but you get 5% extra. Good. Then blood sacrifice. AoE damage, it's okay, I would say. 12% chance. It triggers sometimes, but it's a little bit of damage boost, but not huge. The immovable object. Immovable object is probably the best tank variant for a weapon, especially because you need to pair it with unstoppable force. The best variant of them all here. Important to note here, as I said earlier, the attack is post-deployment, the defense as well. And this is special because you get an additional 5% attack if someone in your team wears the movable object from unstoppable force. And 5% damage reduction for the tank. So those paired together are crazy because you get 5% post-deployment attack and 5% damage increase. Exactly. Then Spirit Mastery. For summoners, I would put it in situational. It's 8% damage increase. I did a lot of testing, especially with summoners that have a lot of summons like Release or Beatrix. Even though it's 8% of overall damage increase, not much. It's like 4%, so it's like on the good level, but situational to summons, of course. Let's get to Honorable Power. A lot of people think it's good. I don't like it. I think it's... well, it's decent, but the stat increase of a red stat, it looks good, but it's not much. For example, if you have a weapon that has a yellow roll, and then you have Unrivaled Power on it, it increases, let's say, well, yellow attack speed, and you improve it to red, it's like a 15%, 20 or 15 attack speed increase. Overall damage increase is like 1%. So all those above are way better. Even the 20% attack speed increase is probably better. To be honest. So unrivaled power looks good on paper. Damage increase wise, not really good. But it's kind of situational. So if you have a lot of crit, for example, and can make one quad critless chest, for example, then it's worth it sometimes. Fortitude, 1200 extra HP. It's pre-deployment. Well, it's okay. 1000 more HP. Brutality, crit damage and crit rate plus 2%. Yeah, I will put in trash. Put it to trash too, actually. It's not enough. All the others are way better. Aggression, stat-wise, trash, but it's the best variant for BP increase. So I'm gonna put it in good. And on some champions, it's actually better than unrivaled power. Some champions like the Arjan or Beelzebub, aggression is even better than unrivaled power. Yeah, good. Woeful optimism. It's the same as renewed vigor, 5% post-deployment stat increase, so 5% attack, HP, and defense. But your champion doesn't need to be in a faction, which happens sometimes. It's probably good on Dracula, but less useful than renewed vigor, because the 5% is always kicking in. Good. Incendiary roar. I would say situational, very situational. Probably good on deployment heroes like Suyu. The 300% OE damage is pretty good. Does a lot of damage, but just once to 10 enemies. So yeah. Rapidity, I would put it top of the good one. 2% post-deployment attack and 10 attack speed. It's not bad. On top of 4 it's way better though, but yeah. 2% is okay. And then Languid Curse, I would put it OP. Yeah, I'll put it OP. Because it's a 5% flat damage increase and multiplicative. So yeah. Alright guys. Let's get to the math. First off, I want to explain why Unstoppable Force is so good. Post-deployment stats versus pre-deployment stats. I have two examples, one Kigiri, one Beelzebub, one with very low base attack and one with pretty high one. So Kigiri has a base attack of 6,700. That means pre-deployment 1% attack is 67. That equals 5%. So every 5% attack increase is around 338. So like when you gear, if you have 5% more attack, gear against 338. Beelzebub, it's way lower. It's 130. I set up one red roll, which is 33% on attack, would be 2,200. That's just for comparison. So post deployment attack, that means this is after all the attacks gets calculated and so on with the gear, and then post deployment is this. Gear has 31k, that's without any buffs. And if you account Invic, for example, it increases by 12%. On Beelzebub, if he's wearing his artifact, it's 30% plus post deployment, so he's gonna be at 21k. That includes including Invictu. So if you calculate it now with Unstoppable Force or Vigor or Willful whatever, this is 5% of that post-deployment attack. So for example, here with Kigiri, that's 1,700. With Beelzebub, it's 1,000. And now, if you compare it to the pre-deployment attack, with Kigiri, it's the 33% attack roll is 2,200. And the 5% post-deployment is 1,700. So almost an additional red roll, just those 5% post-deployment. If you have two, if you're wearing two, so Unstoppable Force and Vigor, it's 3,500. So 50% more than, around 50% more than a red roll. So it's like 45% more attack, additional pre-deployment attack. On Beelzebub, because he has such low base attack, it's even more. So it's already just one piece of Unstoppable Force, like one variant, is 1,000 attack. That's equal to more than an additional red roll pre-deployment. So as you can see, it's insane. The attack increase is so much more, just with 5% of Unstoppable Force. And then if you're wearing two pieces, Unstoppable Force and Vigor, it's 2,100. And let's say if you have a third one, so if you rolled like Vigor on a ring, amulet, or a chest, actually you can't roll Vigor on a chest, but on amulet or ring, you can get 3, so it's like 3,000 increase, so it's even crazier, but that's very unlikely. Okay, let's get to the other variant calculations. So I calculated I recorded all tests on Nightmare 4 Dragon. So I tested it with Yovar and Lady Alex. So I did the base run with nothing, so exactly the same gear and without any variants. So the basic attack damage was 39k. Then if I added Woeful Optimism or Unstoppable Force, so the 5% extra post-deployment attack, the basic attack did 8% more damage. You can see it's a 3,000 and so on increase in attack. And then if I added a second variant, it added another 8%. So 60% increase with just two variants that increase the stats by 10%. Exactly. Then I did the same thing with Lady Alex. And here I added the Arbiter exclusive. So for Lady Alex, Unstoppable Force was 7%. I think it's 7.5 or something like that. So it's close to the other one. But yeah, the 5% attack increased the attack damage by 7%. With two variants, it's 15%. With three variants, 23%. So 3 times, like 15% attack increased attack damage by 23%. If you add in the 5% of the Unstoppable Force, if you're wearing immovable object at the same time on a tank, it's 5% on top of the 123. So it's going to be 128 total damage, or 28% attack increase. Yeah, as you can see on the right side, I tested the Languid Curse or Merciless variants. Those are the ones that have a flat 5%, or I tested a 4% because I didn't have a 5%. So those increased the basic attack damage by the flat 4%. So it's just multiplicative. Then the last test was merciless. So the 8% damage increase on the summons for an aura, because just the summons got the 8% increase in total. The total damage was increased by 4%. And on release, it was the same. So she and the summons together did same damage. So conclusion, like I said, like the OP one, Unstoppable Force, Immovable Object, Renewed Vigor, Optimism, and Linger Curse, those are like the must-haves on your gear. Optimally, you want all 3 of those at the same time. Unstoppable Force, like the optimal build would be Unstoppable Force, Renewed Vigor, and Linger Curse. Exactly. Important note also is that, for example, 2 variants with the same name don't stack. So 2 Unstoppable Force don't stack. So if you have Unstoppable Force weapon and chest, they don't stack. If you have both, it's just 5% increase. But Woeful Optimism and Renewed Vigor stack, because they're not the same name, they still stack. So for the optimal builds, I'm gonna put it on the screen here. I would say as a damage dealer, it's Unstoppable Force plus Renewed Vigor and Liquid Curse, if you can manage a 3rd variant. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow, subscribe, or whatever. Peace out.